just filmed the final wrap-up video for HP with a BA project. It's weird to think that that's done. Like, that's been such a big part of the past 2 years, and one of the sort of the consistent parts of it. And it's all finished now. And of course, like, everything's lining up. Like, the project is finishing up, I'm finishing up my year, I'm down to like 2 major things that I have to do, which is my last TA marking and then my comp exams, which are all next week. Like, I get my TA writing, my TA marking Wednesday, and then I write my comps Friday, which is like a week away, and then the oral comps Monday. So I'm starting studying. I read the questions, and what it is we have 5 questions from each of the semesters, 2 different profs. First semester I'll be relatively fine once I read over my notes again, because they're relatively like simple questions where you can write an relatively okay answer in half an hour, where you're just comparing like 2 authors. So compare and contrast Antigone and Sophocles' Antigone and Socrates and Plato's Apology. Cool. I read over like the notes for the 2 of those with the question of how different and or similar are they in their approach to justice and the human relation to the divine in mind when I read over the notes. And ta-da! Like, okay, I'm okay for that question. The other ones are Machiavelli with Aristotle, Hobbes, Locke, or Rousseau, choose 2. It's state of nature question, so for me it's going to be Hobbes and Rousseau, because those are the ones I can remember better without even having read over the notes. So reading over the notes are going to be my better comparisons. John Stuart Mill with Marx, which is, I think, one of the ones I'm more iffy on. Like, those first 3, again, read over the notes, I think I'm fine. Mill and Marx, I'm going to do a little more serious study on. Freud and Nietzsche, a little more serious study on. But those are his questions. Compare and contrast these 2 authors, these 2 authors, these 2 authors, these 2 authors. And then I hit the questions from this semester, and this semester has been, it's a lot more of modern political philosophy and a lot more of a mix. Like, we've read sociologists, we've read scientists who are writing on the philosophy of science. We've read anthropologists. We've read people who are actually still alive teaching. Because a lot of the canon of philosophy, like, you hit a certain point, and then you get fewer and fewer people within, like, the recognized canon of philosophy. You really, again, you start back with, like, Plato and Socrates, and then you hit, I'd say, like, the American Revolution is sort of one of the cutoff points. You could certainly name people and know people within those fields after that point, but philosophy really does become a much more varied field, where we are having scientists write on philosophy and sociologists becoming involved. So it's a much more mixed question, where we're not always talking about something like just justice or the state of nature, but the 2 big words that have been coming up this second semester are epistemologies and ontologies, which, I mean, when you look them up, they make sense, but when you're trying to understand, like, multiple people's accounts, and they all start blending into each other. Like, the thing I've learned this semester is situated knowledges, which sucks, because I'm thinking, okay, situated knowledges, and then you're having questions where, God, give me a second, okay. Where's the one on, okay. I'm going to read this question for you. Edward Said writes, in the prison notebooks, Gramsci says the starting point of critical elaboration is the consciousness of what really is, and is knowing thyself as a product of the historical process to date, which has deposited in you an infinity of traces without leaving an inventory. There's a ... because he says more. Therefore, it is imperative at the outset to compile such an inventory. And that's from Said's Orientalism. The question goes on, a central theme in the readings for this class has been theorizing subjectivity as open for objective consideration. That makes sense, situated knowledges. Choose two of the following accounts of this, articulate them respectively, attending to the ways that knowers and their features become knowable, and compare them with one another. To which she has listed archive, brackets, implosion project, leaving traces, in brackets, Haraway, Latour, genealogy, Foucault, phenomenology, Gordon, situated knowledges, Haraway, epistemologies of ignorance, Mills, Alfkoff, and Spielman, paradigms, Kuhn, and hegemonies, Said. I've just got situated knowledges. All of those blend together in my head. And you know what? That's honestly the question out of the 5 that this professor has given us that I actually stand a chance on. Everything else just goes off the rails. Like, we have a 1 that is, there's no chance you can write a respectable answer for this in half an hour, because she is asking us to briefly describe 1, 2, 3, 4 people's approach to postmodernism, being refused as alternative. Like, the reason I stand a chance with the Edward Said question is because she's asking for 2, and I can pick the 2 that I can know and sort of differentiate in my head and explain that. But, like, here are 4 that you're gonna have to figure out and be able to explain coherently in half an hour and be able to talk out the rest. The thing is, when I do readings for a class like this, I try and understand it. Most of the time, I can't. Because a lot of these readings are based in a set of readings, or a set of texts, that this person has been working through this idea throughout their career. And they've written, who even knows how much on it. So you're only getting a chunk of what they're saying, right? That's why I like taking classes on it, because you can go to class and the professor maybe has read a slightly larger chunk about it, or has studied them under another prof, or has studied under that particular person themselves, which is a possibility with people we've been reading this semester. And I go to the class because I'm like, I sort of understand this one little chunk in this little chunk of this plethora of writings, which sits itself in a system of a section of philosophy, whether it's postmodern take on it, or feminist scholars, or philosophy of science, or a social philosophy, or political philosophy, and then that's a chunk in a bigger line of philosophy as a whole. So I go to the class because I'm like, I understand this, and I would like to maybe understand this, right? Just a little more. The issue I've run into this semester is it's been much more of a discussion-based class this semester, which I figured, cool. I've done that before, did that my entire BA. I can handle that. Last semester, it was very much, we'd have discussions, like the prof would have discussions, but he really was much more of a lecture-based prof. And here's what's being said here. My notes for him are frickin' fantastic. Writing papers from him has been easy. This past semester in this particular class has not gone well because I don't know what to write down. She gives us sheets that I'm sure are going to be useful for studying, which have quotations from these different texts, because half of mine are existing somewhere on the internet because I can't afford to pay $200 worth of printing fees, which has been in fact how much some people have paid to print off these articles. I can't afford that, so I've been reading it off online. So, meaningful quotes, okay, cool, and then she'll say something, and then we have two people in the class who I don't think have liked anything this semester, and have been so freaking vocal about it, about how stupid these texts are, and how stupid the writing is, and how these people don't know things, and they don't like it, and there's gotten to be objective truth. Never mind the fact that I don't think we have actually read anybody arguing for pure relativism. That hasn't come up. And the issue I have is the class goes off the rails, because one of these particular people will say, I have an issue with this thing, and then the prof will try and explain it, and they'll keep just needling it because they've got it figured out, and this author is wrong. And that's what we spend most of the class on. Is this author is wrong at this particular spot, so this argument falls apart and it's useless. God, I don't care if I agree with the argument or not right now. I just want to understand what the frickin' argument is. I'm honestly scared at this point that I'm going to fail that half of this comp because my notes for this class are absolutely useless. That's why I say I know situated knowledges, because that's the one thing I can remember. Sorry, this frustration has been building up all semester. I don't think I have walked out of one of those classes, which are 3-hour-long classes on a frickin' Monday, of course, content that I actually know what's going on. My other classes have been fantastic. Fantastic to the point of slightly boring because it's a lecture. And it's a very clear lecture where we are working through the text in a relatively chronological order, and I actually understand what's going on. And I'm sitting there and I'm taking notes. So yeah, to the slightly boring but educational, and I actually understand something to the point where I can write a goddamn paper on it. I can write 12 pages on it. You want to know how long my freaking take-home was? That second half was supposed to be a minimum of 6 pages. I ended up with 9. If I used as much textual evidence as I normally do in my papers, I would have been at a full 12-page paper. Because I can do that for those classes. I can do that. For all the conversations we've had this semester. And it's really funny because I try not to take issue with a lot of these people because, again, I just want to understand them. I might not agree with them at the end, but I just want to understand them. One of the authors I deeply take issue with is Freud because, well, he takes a lot of issues with me as a person. And so I said that last semester to the class. And these particular people who have just been shitting on everything this past semester told me to basically shut up. Because he knows more about these things than I do, so who am I to judge? Every now and then I really wanted to smack them.
Now I'm just terrified I'm gonna fail my exam because I don't know what's going on. What a roller coaster of emotions today. And it's still cloudy and wet. I was hoping after the thunderstorm last night. Yeah, loud enough woke me up out of a dead sleep. Sort of hoping like that was just last night. It was gonna be nice today and I could go out and enjoy it. Instead, I'm sitting here and freaking the frack out. Okay, I'm just gonna go back over my notes. Just go over my notes and try and talk myself through these things. Maybe I'll figure something out. Talk to you tomorrow. To give you, just briefly, started going back over my notes. To give you an idea of what I mean by I wasn't able to, like, seriously learn anything from some of these classes. The first class we did, we had to read 4 articles for. And when I read and I take my own notes. Different area of study. Wasn't quite sure what I was doing, but tried to take notes. So my own notes start on this page. Go to this page. This page. That's my class notes. 4 articles. 3 hours. Those are my class notes. Yeah. Cool. Cool. And to know, just so you guys know how quickly this thing went off the rails, particularly with these 2 students, the first thing I have written. Oh yeah, no, that was a good hour of that first class. Four articles. I've gotten 2 points down, each with their own subpoint. Fan-frickin-tastic.